Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about Samsung Fold of 2023 or Samsung Fold 5 or Flip 5. So let's dive deep into it. So all of this puppy started in Unpacked event of July 2023 as in 26/7/23 and at 11 Universal Time Coordinate in Seoul, South Korea. And they announced a lot of goodies. One is Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5, a tablet S9. Now be mindful, tablet because after the release of Apple's Pro tablet lineup, people have realized that there is a lot of money that people are willing to pay for tablet. So that created a resurgence in basically tablet ecosystem of Android. On top of that, Samsung have successfully made some quality tablets and successfully sold it. Seeing that, Google is now creating some laws in their ecosystem where it's like, hey, can you make sure that your app actually has a tablet variant? Basically, the main issue is not the horsepower. Basically, how much crunching this puppy can do, that's more than good enough. Problem is the user interface is not designed to scale properly for a tablet. So that's a very weak link which Apple ecosystem does not suffer from. But Google is taking some big steps. Samsung is making sure that they are already there to take advantage of it. And that's why when you see the full event, they are directly talking about video editing apps that directly work for them. I'm pretty sure they must have worked with software guys to make sure the UI is actually useful in tablet interface. So a lot of interest is going into the tablet department. And then they have Watch Series 6 and this is classic round, and they also have a variant known as Classic, which has a knob that you can rotate. Again, it's up to you whether you like it or not. I'm not a big smartwatch guy, I'm an old school kind of guy. So this is what they announced in July 2023. So let's talk about the interesting part, that is Z Flip 5. Now Z Flip 5, first time they are adding a big ass front display. Now this display looks odd to me simply because this display is supposed to be what we call always on. Now if you have always on display, it's generally advisable to have a circuit that allows you to underclock it, meaning if it's running on 60 Hertz, you do want this puppy to go down to 1 Hertz. So if you're running a clock, which most people do, it will consume less battery. They do not do that, which at this sort of price range, I'm like, that's a very weird omission. And it saves battery, and that's the biggest weak link of this sort of folding device, not having battery. So that was odd to me, but it is what it is. And the whole selling point, I'm pretty sure the whole Samsung engineering team, all they worked on is one thing: flex hinge, basically no gap folding. So now they can fold it rather than having folding like this, they can fold like this, flat folding. Now they have also removed 128 GB variants, which I am genuinely shocked why the heck it was even there in the first place. If you do not have SD card storage to extend your space, 128 GB is just not enough. So they removed it. That's cleaning up the inventory kind of thing. They have Snapdragon 8th generation second variant, and it's basically all the same. So SoC got a big bump in terms of efficiency, not in terms of crunching power. So it can do the same amount of crunching as last variant, but this can do this with less energy consumption. Big screen, that's the biggest advantage that you're gonna get. And in terms of physical feel, because again, we are going back into the old eras where we are moving away from black bricks, is that having that hinge design for many people is just like, shut up, take money. Just shut up, take money. Because again, this flat out makes it look far more premium. And apparently, flip phones are very popular with the ladies. And I have no idea why. But then somebody explained to me, which you can write down which YouTuber. So it's like, ladies' pants do not have pockets. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have seen pants. They have pockets. It's like, no, they do not have depth. That's why this design is very successful, and that's why like Samsung has so many ladies focusing on this system. In basically Fold, you have both boys and girls. Here, mostly girls. It's like, oh, the pocket. It's like fashion sense, pocket, firing missiles directly there. Smart marketing, I have to say that. It's like there was a niche and they just fired missile at it. So then we come to Z Fold 5. Now Z Fold 5, again, same thing, flex hinge. So they have gapless hinge. So finally going from this weird thing to a gapless system. Be mindful, it could have been done, but Samsung is very cautious with their display, because not only Samsung is the phone manufacturer, they also manufacture the display that is being sold to others. So it's in their best interest to make sure that if they are saying that we can fold it in such a way, that should not cause damage to the basically OLED. Because if it did, it not only will affect the sales of that particular device, it will affect the reputation of Samsung Semiconductor. And Samsung Electronics is chump change. Samsung Semiconductor, that puppy prints money. So I'm pretty sure that's why they took this amount of time. They could have done that. I'm reasonably sure they could have done this. It's just that they wanted to be damn sure. So they did that, and I said, no, there is a dude, and they have listened from people's feedback. And one of the things is that because it's a big display, more and more people are using it in places where they would not have used it. So, for example, buses and all that. So you have a lot of light there. In those sort of scenario, brightness has been boosted significantly, meaning if you have this versus the Flip 4, you will notice a brightness difference, which is significant given the fact our eyes are logarithmic. So the display brightness is significant. Then S Pen has been improved. So now it's actually a thing that you can carry even on the external thing. I'm pretty sure it would be got tier if they can figure out how to insert it in the chassis, but I'm pretty sure that would be for Z Fold 6 or 7. But again, it has been improved, which I think is an incremental step that they are taking, and everything else is same. I would not be shocked if only thing they would have done is for this hinge, they would have moved the PCBs and all that jazz. So I would not be shocked if somebody opened both of them up and compared the PCBs, they may find it exactly the same. Of course, may require some nudging things around to make sure that they are compatible with the new hinge, but I do not expect to be drastic change. Everything is the same, camera, under screen display, everything. So this is Z Fold 5. The question is how the heck Samsung became this unchanging thing. Samsung was the company that was like going balls to the wall, all out, and again they became the first major company to release Fold with basically Hawaii Fold. And what happened? Well, reality is there is no true competition as of now when I'm making this video. So why the heck there is no competition? Well, Hawaii got destroyed by basically sanctions and all that jazz, so that's out. And then you have basically Pixel lineup. This puppy is very young, very new, and while Pixel phones are really good phones, they are not in terms of mass units sold, basically how many millions of units you have sold. This puppy is generally always lackluster. And again, it's understandable. Samsung had decades of experience in building physical logistics. Even in India, you can find Samsung repair center in middle of nowhere. I'm not joking, my town has it. Like I actually went there, they replaced the OLED. It's quite shocking. In basically Pixel, Apple, all that I have to go to a metropolitan. So that gives them a sort of market penetration that it's hard to explain. On paper, it does not make sense, but if you are leave your online life a bit, you will find that Samsung has a very big presence. So based on that, Pixel needs some time to cook. It's gonna take quite a while before Pixel actually has a enough sales volume where they're like, no, I'm actually taking money away from Samsung pockets. So it needs some time to cook. Then we have Motorola Razr. Now Razr, again, the same thing. Even though they had a brand, that brand has been sold and bought by so many times, I don't even know who is the original owner. Is it Lenovo at this point in time or someone else? So that's a big issue. And they have, again, because of the small scale of the company, they are not selling it not all variants are even launched in USA. So that's a very serious limitation. So even though they have a device that is compelling, actually good and all that, it's not like, whoa, everybody is using it. The sales volumes are weak. And Apple has not released any Fold yet. So this 5th generation, this basically is the perfect time for them, where it's like they are just taking it chill. And I'm reasonably sure they must be working on something important for the next variant, but this time they were like, how about we take it slow, and how about we make sure we solve all the hidden issues, most likely with hinges and reliability. So that's why they are unchanged. It's like Apple is not there, and Pixel will take time to cook. Razer does not have the backbone of like Samsung, where they can like move millions of units, and Hawaii is no longer there. So flat out, they are unchallenged. So they do not need to change. I do hope they change, because there is a very easy time, probability that one company just comes up with a new device and bam, everything changes. So that's the unchanged part of it. However, you have to understand that the equation has changed here. Equation is basically demand will only go up if the prices go up. You're like, what the hell is that? Well, that's Veblen Goods, meaning if the price go up, only then people buy it. For example, why do people buy Gucci? Is it useful? No, hell no, it's 100% useless. Heck, you can look into the Gucci's manual and basically what they could tag, and you're like, what materials are used? Basic plastic. It's like, then why the heck people are paying for that? Because they have to pay for it. Like, that does not make sense. Exactly like luxury watches, meaning why do people buy luxury watches? Do they tell time better than this thing? Hell no. Then why do people buy it? Because it's a luxurious thing, meaning you can't afford it. So this is one of the things that Rajesh, I think in the Big Band used to say, is like the next best thing about money is like actually making other people jealous. So it's one of those tools, ecosystem, where it's like, hey, I have this. Then people will ask the price, and then they're like, whoa. And it would be even awesome if people look at it and they just know that this is expensive. That's what every company wants to achieve. That ultimate goal of every company is that I make a product that is so awesome, that is so attractive to you, that you will pay for it even if I keep increasing the price. Even if my bong cost, basically bill of material cost, keeps going down, you will still pay for it, and you will urge me to increase the price. Ask Rolex sellers. So it's one of those things. And Apple was in that zone. Now, Apple is not a big deal in USA simply because a lot of people have Apple ecosystem, meaning they have Apple desktops, they have Apple laptops and iPods and all that jazz. So it's not that big of a deal. And not to mention, they have a lot of career cell phone carriers are also giving a rebate. So it's not that wow deal. However, in India, it's completely opposite. It's super duper expensive. Most people don't have Apple laptops and tablets and all that jazz. Again, some do, but it's not, in terms of our scale, it's not there. So why the heck people buy it? Because others can't buy it. It's like, oh, how the heck you can show to someone whether you are richer than them? iPhone. So that's the whole point. That's every company wants to do this. And Samsung just hit a gold mine by introducing Fold. Fold has two advantages. First, it's expensive. Second, it actually screams that I'm expensive. Like, what does that mean? That simply means if you pull out a phone, let's say all the phones are like, lying face up, all of you can tell that they are phone, right? Flat out, it looks like a phone, a black box. Of course, it has some edges and curves, but in a zoom out a bit, you can tell it's a freaking phone. Now, compare the same thing with cars, normal brand cars versus Ferrari, Lamborghini. Even if you blur it out, you can like, that's a Ferrari, that's a Lamborghini, because it screams that I am something expensive. Fold screams that I am something expensive because this aspect ratio, that size, flat out screams I am not normal. And that's desirable. That's like, for rich people, that's like cocaine. That's like, give me it. So flat out. So what does that mean? That simply means at this point in time, when I'm making this video, I have seen doctors using this, I have seen politicians using this, I have seen architects using this, because now Apple is for poor people. So to give you numbers of this, it's like, oh, you spent 90,000 rupees for that Apple phone. You're very poor, man. 1,50,000, bitch. Mine's bigger than yours. And be mindful, Samsung is genuinely trying their ass off to reach that $2,000 mark, and they will reach it. They are not even targeting it. It's like, I've looked at their sales and all that. I understood it's like they're not even trying to make Fold as a cost-effective device. They're not trying to. And again, why would they? It's like they have a candy lineup that is for that, and they have Flip that is for middle-class people. So that's the whole point. They have achieved what they were always trying to do. If you're rich, buy that. If you are, buy that. If you're poor, hey, I have a candy lineup. You can't complain about it. So until Apple releases something which is genuinely better, this market recognition, because be mindful, this is a very shocking thing where folding, if they get associated with Samsung all the time, Apple will always look like they copied. So this is a very unique ecosystem. And from a company's point of view, they struck gold. And again, even with that Flip, I never realized like why the heck Flip is so important. And like, oh, women's pocket. Why? Why women pockets is so small? Why? I want to, like, when I get to tailor, I ask them for extra long, basically, pockets, and I literally give them my mobile phone. It's like, my mobile phone is huge with a giant case. Make sure it fits inside. So I have no idea why, but women buy Gucci, so I have no idea. So this is the complete ecosystem. So do not complain about it like, oh, it's expensive. They're not even targeting the cost. They're like flat out. They slowly, brick by brick, they will make sure it reaches $2,000. And they just have to keep doing it well enough before Apple actually tries it. So Apple becomes the one, original Samsung. Apple, copy. Again, I'm zooming out a bit. That's why. Do not look into, oh, this technology and all that. No, it does not matter. Outside, it has to scream. Nobody's going to give a damn about Ferrari, even if it has a garbage clutch. But people are like, hey, it's Ferrari. Sometimes you need to zoom out a bit. You have to go into the ego realm where you have to be like, mine's bigger than yours. So that mine's bigger than yours is a very important thing here. So this was my presentation on Samsung's Fold event. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.